Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of map study. Riley is taking a nap right now, and I'm just looking for some lakes near where we're staying here at St. Jude in Memphis that I can go check out and fish. You know, some new bodies of water that kind of expand my horizons as far as fishing around in this area. And one kind of jumped out at me that's not too far away from Memphis here. It's called Horseshoe Lake. It's a really cool oxbow lake. It's landlocked, but it used to be part of the Mississippi River, and it has since been eroded to where it has been cut off from the main river. And it's got all different types of cover that I really like to see. It's got cypress trees, it's got plentiful vegetation, and it also has a ton of docks. And to me, there's a lot of different types of cover that work really well during the spring, but to me, there's no better piece of cover that you can catch pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn bass off of than docks. They just seem to cater to all three phases of the spawn. And so what I wanted to do on this video today was kind of go through the anatomy of a dock and kind of how I target docks, and you know, as far as the different parts of docks throughout the spawning season. So is it pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn? All right, so let's start screen recording. All right, so here we have a screenshot of a dock, several docks actually, but we're going to be talking about this one right here, just kind of you know, dissecting this one. And so during this pre-spawn, and when we're talking about pre-spawn in this context, I'm really kind of focusing in on that 55-degree water temperature all the way up to the, you know, the low 60s right before the bass are going to spawn. Of course, you know, pre-spawn can be a wider you know, time frame where you're even talking about like even the mid 40s or something like that. But for this, we're talking about 55 degrees. You've got you know, positive weather trends that are going to start pulling fish onto the bed, that sort of thing. So the stars are aligning to get the fish onto a spawning pattern. Now, during the pre-spawn, I really like to focus on this portion of the dock, the widest portion, the ends of the docks. You know, where usually, you know, you've got your boat slips, you've got all those different types of stuff. You even have a slide on this one. But anyways, you know, that's where I'm going to be focusing my general you know, efforts. Okay, but during the pre-spawn, I will say that a lot of times I really like to focus on these back corners. Okay, so we're still out on the main you know, portion of the dock, but those back corners tend to work really well, because that's kind of where those big pre-spawn females are going to stage before they move up to where the bucks have made the beds, you know, kind of in this region right here. Okay, so let's erase those. So those back portions of the docks, those back corners are going to be really key right before those fish move up. Now, like, say the water temperature, it just started like trending towards warmer weather. Okay, the front portions of the docks definitely are going to play a role. So you've got to figure things out. You cannot neglect to hit the front portions of the dock at all. But those back corners, this is the time of year during the pre-spawn when I really think that those back corners are at their best compared to the rest of the year. All right, so then as things start progressing, the males are going to move up and they're going to start spawning. One of the great things about docks, and the best type of docks during the spring, always have posts. As you can see here, this is built on posts, as opposed to, like, if you go to a lake that like Grand Lake, for instance, most of the docks don't have posts. Okay, the walkways aren't built on posts. They are built with cables that are anchoring them to the shoreline, and so you just have this gangway, this walkway that doesn't have any posts, but is anchored with those cables. I don't like those as much. The bass really don't like them as much for spawning, and the reason for that is bass really like to make their beds around something, so they can keep their tail, their tail pointed at that cover, that whatever that piece of cover may be. It could be a stump, it could be a lay down tree, a bush, or whatever it is. They like to be able to back up against something so they can protect the nest, in front of them. So they have something that's already kind of creating a wall, so they don't have to protect 360 degrees. So they really like to spawn around these posts. And during the spawn, when you're talking about like low to mid 60 degree weather, it's these posts that you're going to want to focus on. Pretty much like the first post in the water all the way to like, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth post, depending on the depth. If it's so shallow that it's 3 foot, towards the main portion of the dock, they can spawn on all these posts. Okay. But anyways, it's all about the walkways at that time of year, as long as there's posts or something for those fish to create their bed around. So that is kind of the big part of the dock that you want to focus on. That's really the only time of the year that I like to really focus my efforts on the walkways of the dock, is when the fish are actively spawning. And then post spawn, the reverse happens. The biggest portion, the outer portion of the dock, tends to start working again. And there's a lot of different things going on at this time that make this outer portion of the dock play a big role. Now, again, I think when the fish go back out, let's see if I can erase this. We're gonna have to do that. All right, there we go. I really do think that like immediately after they spawn, I think that the back corners will again play for a short period of time. When those fry start hatching and the male bass protect those balls of fry, this is where you're going to find those fry balls usually either on the outside corners or the inside corners. Those are kind of where you want to focus your efforts, and where you're going to see, if you went up with your trolling motor and looked at those corners when the fry have already hatched, you're probably going to see them on one of those 4 corners of a dock. And then as you progress more, and there may be females out underneath those docks. There may not. In general, they become harder to catch in the post spawn, but they do love hanging underneath those docks. They feel safe there. But another thing that starts happening during that post spawn period is that a lot of times it coincides with the shad spawn, if you have a lot of shad. So if the water temp starts getting in those low 70 degree range, really you start seeing a lot of action around the fronts of the docks. Okay, so you always want to make a cast on this front edge as well as the sides. So you always want to focus your energy on casting to the front of the dock first as you're approaching it, and then casting parallel to each side as you pass it. And the reason for that is the shad on the main lake here, they'll come up and they'll come to a dock, and especially if it's a dock that has floats on it, that's like killer for a shad spawn. They're going to start spawning around those floats on the sides, and so there's always going to be bass in those areas, relating to those docks as the shad come up and spawn. So docks are a huge player when it comes to the shad spawn. So anyways, guys, that's kind of how I approach docks during all 3 phases of the spawn. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but this is a key part of like being a better dock fisherman, is kind of understanding what parts of the dock play at different times. So anyways, guys, hopefully you found this interesting or helpful. And if you have any questions, or if I missed anything, drop a comment below. And also, if you have any videos that you want me to cover in a future video, or a topic you want me to cover in a future video, make sure you drop a comment as well. Other than that, hit that subscribe button if you could. If you enjoy this content, it's a great way to support the channel. Other than that, make sure that you trust the process, and I'm going to see you out on the water. Take care.